Bam Adebayo literally just scored 83 points today in a game against the Washington Wizards, and it might have been one of the most unethical yet exciting things that I've ever watched happen on a basketball court. Now, I was sitting in the middle of a class when this was happening. I was helping off the train when he had 30, and afterwards I turned it on straight away. Bam shot 26 from 43 from the field goal range and had 36 of 43 free throws, which is record-breaking numbers from the free throw line. Now, I don't want to take away from the fact that this man has literally just scored 83 points on a basketball court. The way that Bam scored this 83 points, it doesn't sit well with a lot of basketball fans, NBA fans, really anyone. He got fouled a lot in the game. Like I said just then, he had record-breaking numbers from the free throw line. And I just wanted to go through some other games and some reasons why this might have been the worst 70-plus point game that we'll ever see in NBA history. Bam played a possible 22.5 minutes of 24 minutes in the second half of the game today and didn't get subbed out until a minute and a half left in the fourth quarter after he'd broken Kobe's 81-point game. Now, this wouldn't be bad in most situations, but Miami, for I'd probably say about 80% of the last quarter, were up by at least 20 points. Bam had more than enough points by, let's just say, 7 minutes to go in the game to be a top 10 scorer in NBA history in a single match. But instead, what he did was Eric Spoelstra decided to keep him on the court, and he was just begging for fouls. He was drawing the fouls, and Washington were giving him the fouls, but the fact that they had to do that to get him his 83 points, it just doesn't sit right with anyone. Now, I want to give a little bit of love to Alex Sarr as well, because he had 28 points, 6 boards, and 2 blocks in only 20 minutes. And he only played 20 minutes because it was his defense which was the problem. And I don't think that's true, although he did play pretty terrible defense today against Bam Adebayo. But Alex Sarr he's a great, I wouldn't say great defender, he's not an incredible defender, but he's very serviceable. He has more than enough talent to play the defense there, and they had Anthony Gill on him for the last quarter. Now, I think that's more because they'd bowed out of the game, but they also had Bilal Coulibaly and they had Trey Johnson on the court. Bilal played a bit of defense on him late in the game, but that was mainly just to draw fouls. And Miami went into this game without any Tyler Hero, without Khalil Ware, without Norman Powell, Andrew Wiggins, and also Nikola Jovic. So that left Miami short-handed, which is the reason for Bam having to score 31 points in the first quarter. But like I said earlier, he shot 20 for 43 from the field goal range, 7 for 22 from 3, and 36 for 43 from the free throw line. And that left him with a 54.7 effective field goal percentage. Now, if we're going into some numbers from other games, other 70-point games, Kobe's 81, he shot 68.7. That's a 14% increase over Bam's 83. It's only 2 points apart. When Wilt scored 100 60 odd years ago, he shot 57.1%. When Lucas shot 73 points 2 years ago, he shot 87.9 effective field goal percentage. And David, the Admiral, 73 points back in the 90s, 73.7%. Bam Adebayo sits at the very bottom of this list, and it's purely because of volume. He shot so many shots today, but still got to the free throw line because he was just begging for fouls. When I'm guilty of wanting them to call the fouls, because while I was watching this, it was one of the most wonderful things I've ever seen. But in hindsight, it's just like, what is he doing? Because he would be throwing his arms, really just fighting to get off screens. He was off ball fouls as well that got him the all-time record for free throws attempted. And it's just, what for? It ruins the integrity of this offense in the game. The Wizards head coach, Brian Keefe, says, and I quote, "In the fourth quarter, it turned into not a real basketball game." And the Wizards were, the Wizards kept fouling Bam so that he couldn't score, which was a terrible move because it just fed him extra free throws. I'm gonna have a look right now because I want to know exactly how many free throws did Bam shoot in the last quarter, because it was a stupendous amount. They scored 150 points. Bam, 83 points, 9 rebounds, unreal, obviously. He shot 14 of 16 in the fourth quarter. from the free throw line and only made 3 field goals. Now, that is terrible statistics for an individual player, let alone the team that was fouling him constantly. You shouldn't be able to score 80 points on less than 50%. Another couple of things about other games, Kobe's 81 points, he only attempted 20 free throws in that game. Luka's 73 only attempted 16. Dame's 71, 14, and Embiid's 70. Embiid is notorious for being a foul baiter and getting to the line a stupid amount. Okay, especially 3 years ago, when he was an MVP candidate, when he was scoring 70 points in a game for no reason. He only attempted 23. Why on earth is Bam shooting twice as many free throws as an ethical basketball player? Like, before this game, his career high was 41, and 41 in an NBA setting is an incredible amount. Like, Bam isn't a prolific scorer or anything like this. This was just situation, this was volume, and it was honestly a load of bullshit. There are clips of not only the Wizards intentionally fouling other Miami Heat players to stop Bam from scoring, but Miami were also intentionally fouling to get more of the ball for Bam. It was preventing a 30-point blowout. It was preventing Eric Spoelstra from having to pull Bam from the game. And this takes me to another point of mine. It's the Jimmy High Roller video from, I think it was last week, and it was talking about the realism of Wilt's 100-point game, or Kobe's, and what you need to do to be on pace for an 100-point game. And Bam was 100% on pace for a 100-point game. But it's how it's done, and it's a point that he was talking about within his video, and he does extensive research. If you like my videos or whatever I talk about, Jimmy High Roller is like, honestly, one of the best people for what I do. And he was talking about ethics within basketball. No one's going to want to see this sort of game. And it's the sort of thing that Wilt Chamberlain did back in the 60s. I think it was in 1962 when he dropped 100 points. Although there's no video of him scoring 100, there are multiple news outlets who have written about the fact that at the end of the game, I'm pretty sure their starting center had already been fouled out, or too many fouls, or who knows. He didn't play the rest of the game. And Wilt was essentially playing on someone that was like 6'7" or something. But it was them feeding him the ball because it's just like, who cares? Let him score 100. Let's get him to 100. And then he's apparently just like, yeah, I didn't want to score 102 because 100 looks better than 102. And it's like that. It's what makes Kobe's 81 so special, because that game was so tight that Kobe needed to score 81 points to win that game. Bam could have sat when he was at 70 and they would have absolutely blown out Washington with no dramas. It's the thing about Kobe's 62 points. I think that was about a month before he dropped 81, but he had 62 points in 3 quarters, and he sat the rest of the game because he wasn't needed. That was probably one of the most on pace to score 100 that we've seen ever. Not Bam, not Kobe's 81, but Kobe's 62. And that's also backed up in Jimmy High Roller's video. Like, go and check it out. I'll leave a link for it in the bio below. But like, it's insane. At the end of the day, like, it proves that Wilt's game could have been real. And I'm not going to speak on whether it is or not real, because who cares? It was 62 years ago. At the end of the day, it really just proves that Wilt's game could have happened, where he scored 100 points, because he was looking through the Wikipedia page earlier, and for this sort of stuff, it's pretty fine. All right. I think there was about 92 names on that list, and he was 32 of them, who'd scored over 60 points in one game. And it really just shows that he was way ahead of his time. He was playing against pretty bad players, and that his 100-point game could have happened, especially with him feeding the ball like they did with Bam today. And I think this does more to help Wilt's legacy than Bam's, honestly, because especially with the whole we're done with the 90s thing and not believing Wilt's game really happened, it sort of backs up Wilt. And it just leaves Bam in a state of, yeah, I scored the second most points in a game in NBA history. But what does that really do for him? It's like, I'm going to compare, and this is going to be a horrible, horrible thing to say. I'm almost in like mentally comparing Bam's 83 points in a single game to Karl Malone being third all time in NBA scoring. And that's a crazy take because obviously Bam hasn't gotten a 13-year-old pregnant, but I hope not. But it's just the ethics of it. I think that's a bit of a reach, but it's just where my mind is at the moment because realistically, this game does nothing for the NBA. If anything, it just ruins Kobe's legacy, and as a Lakers fan, I hate that. Because this game shouldn't have happened. He should have had 70 and 75, beat Luka or anything like that. But at the end of the day, it was just foul baiting in the fourth quarter. Like 16 attempted free throws in the fourth quarter. He had 31 in the first quarter, and that was great. He was really like shooting well. Obviously, he was getting to the line. By the fourth quarter, what's going on, man? The game was like 24 points with 2 minutes left in the third, and they brought it back to 18. What do you fucking do? Like, 2 minutes into the fourth quarter, they had another 24-point lead. They could have just pulled him out. And he's just gifted Bam this 83-point performance, which really does nothing for Miami. It does nothing for Eric Spoelstra. It does a bit for Bam, but at the same time, when your career high before this game is 41, it really sheds a light on how outrageous this game was at the end of the day. Like, it just helps Will. But look, keep it short. There's a video coming out tomorrow. That's been my angle on Bam's 83-point disaster class, I guess you can call it. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you tomorrow.